On our today's program, His Excellency Mr. Tipu Munshi MP, Honorable Minister of Commerce, Government of the People, Republic of Bangladesh. We have with us His Excellency Mr. Salman F. Rahman, MP, Private Industry and Investment Advisor to the Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh. Also joining us this evening, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Vineet Agrawal, Immediate Past President, ASSOCHAM and Managing Director, Transport Corporation of India. Professor Sanjay Kathuria, Senior Visiting Fellow, Center for Policy Research and former Lead Economist at the World Bank. Mr. Deepak Sood, Secretary General of ASSOCHAM. And Mr. Mohammad Jashimuddin, President, Federation of Bangladesh Chambers of Commerce and Industry.
Thank you. This is really a pleasure to have you with us. Please come.
Well, good evening and namaskar everyone, and a very warm welcome to the India-Bangladesh Business Forum. Our today's program, ladies and gentlemen, is brought to you by ASSOCHAM in association with the Federation of Bangladesh Chambers of Commerce and Industry. Now, India-Bangladesh Business Forum is for enhancing the bilateral cooperation for developmental partnership in the presence of His Excellency Mr. Tipu Munshi, MP, Honorable Minister of Commerce, Government of the People's of Republic of Bangladesh. Well, to begin with, let me first of all request Mr. Vineet Agrawal, Immediate Past President, ASSOCHAM and Managing Director, Transport Corporation of India, to kindly present a floral welcome to His Excellency Mr. Tipu Munshi, our chief guest at today's program, the Honorable Minister of Commerce, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. And I request Mr. Deepak Sood, Secretary General of ASSOCHAM, to kindly welcome His Excellency Mr. Salman F. Rahman. Oh, he's not yet. His Excellency Mr. Salman F. Rahman will be joining us very shortly, and we'll also have Mr. Mohammad Jashimuddin, President of the Federation of Bangladesh Chambers of Commerce and Industry. At the outset, let me first of all request Mr. Deepak Sood, the Secretary General of ASSOCHAM, to give the welcome address. Please welcome him, everyone, with a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Indeed, a very, very warm evening to all of you. It's nice to see so many people. The traffic of Delhi has not been that bad for us to arrive on time, and we have a few people who are from another meeting and they're on the way. So just to keep it on time, we started. The Honorable Minister, thank you so much. Our colleagues from the Chamber of Commerce of Bangladesh, thank you so much for partnering with us for this evening of discussions. I think we meet as people, we discuss business, the two countries go forward. And the Indian opportunity I can talk about is humongously large, and as we stand, the world is moving in one direction. India is taking a completely different route, and we clearly see that's going to be explosive growth that this country is going to see. We may be not on track for the $5 trillion economy by the time that we have said, but we'll be there in a year later because of COVID, and we will obviously be, as the Prime Minister has said, a developed nation by 2047. I'm sure all of us believe in this, and we work towards it. But these words, may I now invite Viniji for his talk and his points for the audience. Thank you, Viniji.
Good evening, and again a warm welcome from ASSOCHAM. Your Excellency Mr. Tipu, Munshi, MP, Honorable Commerce Minister of Bangladesh, and joining him is Mr. Salman Rahman, who's on his way. He's the advisor to the PM of Bangladesh. Mr. Mohammad Jashimuddin is also awaited. He's the president of the Federation of Bangladesh Chambers of Commerce. We have Mr. Mustafa Chaudhry from FBCCI, who's the vice president. We have Mr. AKM Atil Huk, Minister Commercial from the Bangladesh High Commission, also who's joined us, and Sanjay Katuriaji and Deepak Sood. It's an honor to have His Excellency Mr. Tipu Munshi today joining us, and the other distinguished speakers from both India and Bangladesh at this significant forum on enhancing bilateral cooperation between our two nations. Today, Bangladesh is critical for India, as India is critical for Bangladesh in terms of trade and strategic ties in the immediate neighborhood in the Indo-Pacific region. Our people-to-people connect in terms of shared culture, language, art, history and sports is one of the most vital factors binding the ties between our two nations. The visit of the Honorable PM of Bangladesh and the larger delegation, and I was told the delegation is more than 150 people this time, will unfold a new chapter in Indo-Bangladesh bilateral ties. The trajectory of our relations between the countries have accrued mutual benefits due to the close ties between the two governments. Both sides also recognize that increased connectivity through air, water, rail and road offers a mutually beneficial opportunity for enhancing economic cooperation between Bangladesh and the entire country, especially the northeastern states of India. The entire game today is the right logistics. We have to clearly look at not just road, but holistically multimodal logistics using rail, road, sea, and of course road, and inland waterways as well. You will be pleased to note, sir, that our company in the last few months, with the assistance of both our countries, was able to send several container cargo trains between India and Bangladesh carrying automobiles, CKDs, spare parts, etc. for the very first time. This is truly a great step forward to build deeper cross-border partnerships. Some trial shipments from Mongla port to northeastern states of India have also concluded quite successfully. In order to minimize the current challenges and improve efficiency, there are some areas, sir, that definitely needs to be worked upon. There is a dire need for development of more warehouses, modern warehouses and cold storages, capabilities both in public and private partnership in, for example, at Benapole land port, to maximize space utility. Bulk items coming in from Bangladesh via road or rail through the Benapole border should be diverted to other land rail ports also to reduce border congestion. Everybody is looking for that right logistics at the right time today. In the certain types of investments, for example, as India allows 100% FDI into freight forwarding companies, we seek similar changes in laws in Bangladesh to permit freight forwarding for foreign companies without a local partner. Input tax credit is also very critical. It is for compliant companies like ours in Bangladesh, it's like almost seems like paying double taxes. Repatriation on current account should also be encouraged to encourage more FDI from Indian companies into Bangladesh. As the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Modi ji, in his address yesterday said that across Asia, India is the biggest market for exports from Bangladesh. To further expedite this process, we will soon initiate discussions on a bilateral economic comprehensive partnership agreement. This kind of a CEPA will open new economic opportunities, including connectivity, new markets, and cooperation and partnership. To our friends in Bangladesh, let me assure you again that India values your extraordinary goodwill and friendship. We look forward to remaining closely connected, jointly achieving development and prosperity, and meeting the aspirations of our people on both sides. ASSOCHAM is glad to join hands today with FBCCI to take our partnership to the next level, and we look forward to jointly organizing many more activities such as today's forum to enhance our bilateral cooperation. I wish you all a very progressive visit to our country, and we hope that this will strengthen our ties further and help industries to find more synergies in the times to come. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Agrawal. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very happy to tell you that Mr. Mohammad Jashimuddin, President, Federation of Bangladesh Chambers of Commerce and Industry, and His Excellency Mr. Salman F. Rahman, MP, Private Industry and Investment Advisor to the Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh, have now joined us. Please join us in extending a hearty welcome to them with a round of applause. And I'll request, first of all, Mr. Vineet Agrawal and Shri Deepak Sood to kindly present bouquets to the two guests and welcome them. Requesting Mr. Vineet Agrawal to kindly present a bouquet to Mr. Mohammad Jashimuddin. Thank you. Now it's time for us to play a video presentation on the trade and investment opportunities in Bangladesh. Please take a look.
At present, Bangladesh is a wonder to the world. Bangladesh symbolizes an indomitable nation that is moving forward towards irresistible progress. Bangladesh, the role model of progress, is a reality now. To continue building a prosperous Bangladesh and achieving the goals of SDG 2030, Vision 2041 and Delta Plan 2100, there are huge investment opportunities in different sectors of the country. Many globally famous multinational companies are now investing in different sectors in Bangladesh. They are operating their businesses successfully in the country. Bangladesh has developed exponentially in terms of socio-economic indicators. Investment competitiveness of Bangladesh include potential strategic location of Bangladesh, acting as the bridge between South and Southeast Asia, stable macroeconomic framework, fiscal incentives and tax holiday, political stability, stable law and order situation, huge physical infrastructure development, 8 export processing zones, 100 economic zones, significant success in public-private partnership, pragmatic initiatives for human capital development by National Skill Development Authority, reform in foreign exchange regulations, assurance of halal products, 160 million domestic market. In 2021, the people of Bangladesh are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the independence of Bangladesh. Such unprecedented progress has been possible under the visionary leadership of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Bangladesh is now truly on its way to realize the dream of the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. In the process of building digital Bangladesh and growth of IT infrastructure, Bangladesh is moving forward to a new era. 28 high-tech parks, software technology parks, and IT training and incubation centers across the country are in the development process. There are many success stories behind the progress of Bangladesh. This success is leading Bangladesh towards food security and fourth industrial revolution. The most potential sectors for investments in Bangladesh are
I now request Mr. Mohammad Jashimuddin, President FBCCI, to kindly give the opening address. Let's all welcome him, ladies and gentlemen.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today's chief guest, Mr. Tipu Munshi MP, Honorable Commerce Minister of Bangladesh, Mr. Binit Agarwal, immediate first President, ASSOCHAM and Managing Director, Transport Corporation of India, His Excellency Mr. Mohammad Imran, High Commissioner to the Bangladesh in India, Mr. Deepak Sood, Secretary General ASSOCHAM, Mr. Amitav Kumar, Joint Secretary Foreign Trade South Asia, Ministry of Commerce and Industry of India, distinguished business leaders, ASSOCHAM and FBCCI. We have with the high-power team include Mr. Saiful Islam Muhyiddin MP, former President FBCCI. We have with Mr. Mustafa Chaudhary Babu, Senior Vice President FBCCI, Mr. Saiful Islam, the President MCCI, and Mr. Hatem, the President BKMEA, Bangladesh Knitwear Association, Mr. Farooq Hussain, President the Garments Manufacturers and Exporters Association, and we have a big delegation with us for different sector. So ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and very good evening to you all. I am delighted to be here that this Bangladesh Business Forum jointly organized ASSOCHAM and the FBCCI. Extend my sincere thanks to ASSOCHAM for their cooperation in organizing today's event. Ladies and gentlemen, India has always been our greatest friend and we have shared strong paternal bond, and I would like to recall all out support, cooperation, the compensation and love extended by the government and people of India during the Liberation War 1971. Since our independence in 1971, India has always been the partner and the quest, the development, and our now is a vital stage of our time-tested relationship that have been bloated through the important exchange of visits with Honorable Prime Ministers of Bangladesh and India. Under the pragmatic leadership of Honorable Prime Minister, a number of landmark agreements have been signed by our two countries, enhancing bilateral cooperation in trade, commerce and investment, taking the advantage of the regional and global value chain, our connectivity, and also being developed in terms of rail, road, waterways and the port uses. Ladies and gentlemen, our bilateral trade front there has definitely been strong growth in overall trade, but big gap exists in our trade volumes. Bangladesh now is among the top 5 trade partners in India. India is also the second largest import source for Bangladesh. During the fiscal year 2020-21, India's export to Bangladesh was 13.69 billion, while Bangladesh export to India was about $2 billion. The trade balance therefore highly tilted in favor of India. India has given duty-free facility to Bangladesh under SAFTA for almost all products. However, despite all these opportunities and connectivity initiated by the two governments of the boosting the trade and our export, India is not increasing expected. We feel that the enhanced private sector engagement of our two countries can be very critical step developing closer relation between the businessmen and two countries. Distinguished guests, under the visionary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister of the Architect of Digital Bangladesh, the country now is considered as the role model for the developing countries for the rapid socio-economic growth, sustainable development, women empowerment, poverty reduction, climate change, and the e-governance. As acknowledged the UN and other international organizations, Honorable Prime Minister, Her Excellency Sheikh Hasina has received more than 50 awards, which has proved the incredible success achieved by our country. During COVID crisis, the bold and the brave actions taken by our Honorable Prime Minister have enabled our socio-economic progress to continue. Our GDP growth was 6.94% during the fiscal year 2020-21, which was one of the highest in Asia, and our GDP growth rate reached 7.25% during 2021 and 22 fiscal year. The present government is moving Bangladesh ahead by implementing SDG goals within 2030, Vision 2041 for making the countries the developed one. The Delta Plan 2100 plan was also being implemented for the sustainable growth up to the year 2221. Distinguished guests, for implementing these goals, the government has initiated projects for the facilitating infrastructure investments. These included deep seaport, the Padma multi-purpose bridge, 100 special economic zones, high-tech park, tourism park, nuclear power plant, metro rail, construction of the LNG terminal, and bringing the whole country under railway network. The new set of attractive incentive facilities, one-stop service, e-platform, fintech facilities are offered, the attracting foreign direct investment and the reducing the cost of doing business. Bangladesh has achieved the sustainable progress of the business innovations, and the creativity provide quality products and the best service. We have a good reputation as export manufacturers of agricultural process commodities, pharmaceutical products, diversified leather and jute goods, plastic, frozen seafood, ceramics, home textile, and so on. Our manufacturers are adopting greener technology and the modern production methods that are aligned with the industrial 4IR, climate change and the challenge. Our RMG industry is largest export in the world after China. Among the world top 10 green RMG factories, the top 7 are located in Bangladesh. So our story is now very different from what it was before. The recent opening of the Padma multi-purpose bridge, we can facilitate India's access to its landlocked northern region, Bangladesh has always allowed to use the Chattogram and Mongla forts from the movements of the goods by India. Distinguished guests, India is the investing our special economic zone at Mongla, Bedamara and Mirisharai. We are also thankful to investors from India for their interest to invest Bangladesh in different areas of the business. Bangladeshi businessmen also are now willing to invest in India. From FBCCI, we are cordially invite Indian business houses to discuss prospective joint ventures with Bangladeshi entrepreneurs. Through arranging the regular meetings between the two trade bodies, we may address the issues, non-tariff barriers, and trade and facilitate, including port restrictions, procedurals, backlogs, and the anti-dumping measures in case of the commodity like jute and the plottering glass, testing facilities in the port areas, removing the logistic bottlenecks in export-oriented value chain, and so on. This would enable two countries like take full advantage of SAFTA. FBCCI and ASSOCHAM also need to work closely within sustain the existing trade facilities after Bangladesh's graduation from LDC to a developed country by 2026. In connection, we are also hopeful that today's exchange of MOE between ASSOCHAM and FBCCI will revitalize our business linkage and strengthen our strategic cooperation areas. Thank you all, and once again, Allah Hafiz, Joy Bangla.
Well, thank you very much, sir, for talking to all of us here. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd also like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Muhammad Shafiul Islam, MP, former President, FBCCI. Let's all welcome him with a round of applause. And I invite him to please join us on the dais. Requesting Mr. Muhammad Shafiul Islam, former President, FBCCI, to please join us on the dais. Thank you. And with that, it's time for us to now invite Professor Sanjay Kathuria, Senior Visiting Fellow, Center for Policy Research and former lead economist at the World Bank, to address the gathering. Let's all welcome him.
Thank you to ASSOCHAM for this invitation, and I couldn't resist because it dealt with Bangladesh, a country which I consider as my second home, having spent 3 years there when I was with the World Bank. And so good evening to everybody, and to Mr. Munshi and ladies and gentlemen. So do we know that it's 20% more expensive to trade within South Asia than it is to trade within ASEAN countries. And it's cheaper for Bangladesh to trade with Brazil than to trade with India. Okay, so this is some kind of perspective for the kinds of discussions we are having and going to have. South Asia overall, the 8 countries of South Asia, they realize barely a third of their trade potential, and even that is an underestimate. Because the region is growing very fast, and it's recovered from COVID and it's growing, and therefore the faster it grows, the greater the gap between current trade and potential trade. When I was in the World Bank, we did this study, glass half full, which showed that potential trade was 3 times actual trade, and I can bet you that the gap would have increased since the study was published in 2018. So my verdict is, and there's a lot of talk of connectivity today. My verdict is connectivity is certainly growing in South Asia, but it is very short of its potential, right? Okay. Now, there are many dimensions of connectivity, as we know. There's trade in goods and services, there is people-to-people contact, there's electricity trade, there's transit, there is, regulatory harmonization if you want to go, to a very ambitious level like the EU and so on. South Asia is still at a very early stage of regional cooperation and integration. If you consider all these different dimensions, right? So what I'm going to do is to draw on the India-Bangladesh relationship as an example of the early potential of regional integration and cooperation in South Asia. I am a student of Bangladesh, and I will be throughout my life, the rest of it. So I hope, some of what I will say may be of interest. So we know the India-Bangladesh relationship, I think there was a step change. It's been through a cycle overall over the years since 1971. But there was a step change since about 2009, when you had two leaders across who were very supportive of that relationship. So I think it sort of grew with electricity trade, which began in 2013 with export of 250 megawatts from Tripura to Bangladesh. Now I understand the export is around 1160 megawatts and growing as we speak. We know that the MOU was signed for FDI in the coal-fired power plant. Medical tourism, that's part of trade in services, right? Very important and very often completely neglected when we talk of trade. We never talk about services, right? But in fact, given how important services is in South Asia, I can bet you that in 20 years, services trade will dwarf goods trade. Already in India, it's catching up overall in terms of services exports. So Bangladesh, I don't know how many of you know this, Bangladesh is the largest market of medical tourists to India. Okay, bar none, right? It's a big and growing market. It can deepen further. There can be value chains created. Mr. Munshi, the report I gave you has a chapter on medical tourism, cross-border opportunities for medical value chains between India and Bangladesh. But we focused especially on the northeast of India in that report. And then same for general tourism. Again, it may come as a surprise for some that Bangladesh, again pre-COVID, and I'm sure it will return, pre-COVID was the largest source of tourists to India. It's not the United States or the United Kingdom anymore. Bangladesh is the number one source of tourists to India, okay? And Bangladeshis, like our friends in West Bengal, love to travel, and going to Bengal is very natural to Kolkata. Visas keep the Indian High Commission very, very busy. I know that. We all know that. It's the busiest Indian overseas embassy, bar none, in the world. Investments are there on both sides, India to Bangladesh, Bangladesh to India. According to the Bangladesh bank data that I accessed in March 2022, India's stock of FDI in Bangladesh is less than $1 billion. Potential is much, much more, right? Because Indian firms invest $10 to $15 billion overseas every year, right? And what I figure I give you is total stock of investment, okay? So there's potential is massive for investment from India to Bangladesh. And Bangladeshi firms also invest in India, especially in the northeast region, where the opportunity is massive, and it's a win-win there because Bangladesh needs assured food supplies for its future growing middle class, and the northeast investment in the northeast will provide a wonderful source for that. Transit trade is making progress, we know that, with the use of Chittagong and Mongla ports. We know that the negotiations on the deeper free trade agreement, the so-called SIPA, will start soon. It will have chapters on trade, investment, and services, which as a trade economist, I'm very happy about that, because it goes beyond a traditional free trade agreement. A paper that we did earlier, when I was based in Dhaka, we found that if there is a full FTA between India and Bangladesh, and if there is trade facilitation up to a certain level, then exports of Bangladesh to India will increase by 300%. Okay, so there is a huge, massive potential. So the point I'm trying to make here, by citing all these examples of the India-Bangladesh relationship, is that it is deep-faceted, it's all-encompassing. It includes tangible and intangible relationships, meeting relatives across the border, wedding shopping, catching a movie overnight and going back. All these things happen. Now, to take full advantage, may I submit to this august audience that to take full advantage of a potential SEPA, there are few critical things that both India and Bangladesh need to do. So if you'll permit me, with my professorial hat, I will just go through very quickly a few things. And as Bangladesh graduates, as Mr. Jashimuddin reminded us, in 2026, these things will become even more critical for Bangladesh to do. And then I will come to what India needs to do. Bangladesh needs diversification. We know that. I know of no other country in the world which is so dominated by a single product in exports, perhaps even historically. 85% of merchandise exports are, garments, knitted and the other one, woven. But it is incredible, this kind of product concentration. And there are many reasons for it. We don't have time to get into it. But diversification is the need of the hour. And for that, the first thing that Bangladesh needs is foreign investment, right? And there are many reasons why foreign investment is so far below potential in Bangladesh. But certainly Indian firms, as I mentioned, could be a big target for you. I'm glad there's Mirsarai and Chattogram and Mongla ports that you're targeting, but I think that needs to be really accelerated. You really need to get so-called boots on the ground in terms of FDI, so that Indian firms can help create these cross-border value chains for mutual benefit. Bangladesh certainly needs to fix its tariff regime. I've written a lot about that. The regime is very protective. Mind you, India is also going that way in the last few years. It's increasing protection. But Bangladesh has a very complex, Mr. Munshi knows this very well, that there is a strong anti-export bias in overall Bangladesh's trade regime. And fixing that is important for diversification, because otherwise it's all too easy to focus on garments and the domestic market, and nothing else really happens. And we can talk more about it if you like. The other aspect is cross-border relationships don't only mean exports and imports. They also mean investment, both inward and outward. And although Bangladesh has loosened somewhat its outward investment regime, it has many world-class firms who will make many more investments overseas and strengthen resilience and get new technology, new markets, new relationships, economic relationships for Bangladesh. So I think there is a strong case for Bangladesh Bank to loosen further the case-by-case approach of allowing outward foreign investment. Mr. Jashimuddin already spoken about logistics and connectivity, including cross-border clearance times, which are very high, and they tax exporters and importers on both sides. And finally, what can India do on its part to make this SEPA, when it happens, a much more tangible thing, and to realize the full potential of the SEPA? firstly, of course, encourage its firms to invest in Bangladesh, right? And I don't mean, tell them to go. You have to encourage in economic terms. Provide info. There is always, in a recent study that I finished with my colleagues at the World Bank, called Regional Pioneers in South Asia, we talked about the informational barriers in South Asia, right? So if you provide information, networking, matchmaking, and all of that, that can help reduce these informational barriers. And providing transit for Bangladesh, not just seeking transit from Bangladesh, but providing transit to Bangladesh, to say Nepal, to Bhutan, accessing Myanmar and the further east. So that's part of the, I think that should be part of the future discussions, and I hope it will be. Accelerating clean energy delivery to Bangladesh, okay? I think that means coming from Bhutan, hydropower, coming from Nepal, and wheeled through India. Facilitating, which it is already doing, India is already doing that, but I think that needs to be taken up on an accelerated footing. And I note my use of clean energy, because that's, we know what's happening in Pakistan, what has happened earlier in the year in India and Pakistan in terms of heat. We know how important clean energy is. So, and Bhutan and Northeast India and Nepal are abundantly blessed with that. And so facilitating that, wheeling of that energy to Nepal, to Bangladesh, I think will be a win-win for India and Bangladesh. And finally, a more nitty-gritty point, but it's very important for the private sector, is providing support on certification and standards and taking cooperative steps to ease border congestion and delays. I think these are very important technical measures that will reduce dramatically the very high cost of trade that I mentioned earlier. I mean, technically we are neighbors, but in economic terms, we are very, very far away. We see in distance, economic distance terms, South Asia's countries in terms of, they sit very far away from each other. So I hope, so what I said, the India-Bangladesh relationship is full of tremendous promise. By far, I think the strongest bilateral partnership, certainly for India, but I think in South Asia as a whole, of any bilateral partnership. So here's wishing all of you well as you strive to create these deeper and foundational cross-border linkages and partnerships. Thank you.
We'll be taking them later in the interest of time, but thank you very much, Professor Sanjay Kathuria, for that very comprehensive address. I'll now request Mr. Mohammad Shafiul Islam, MP, former President FBCCI, to say a few words, address the gathering here, and request all of you to please once again join me in welcoming him with a round of applause.
Assalamu alaikum and very good evening to you all. Honorable Minister, Mr. Tipu Munshi MP, responsible for Commerce Ministry. His background is politicians, freedom fighter, and a businessman, a renowned businessman. He's one of the best hospital, Apollo. He is one of the biggest shareholder of that company. Anyway, here ASSOCHAM has organized the president and dignitaries, and I was listening to the earlier speaker, my president, Mr. Jashimuddin, and others, professor who is dealing with trade. Very informative speech. Actually, we are all a little tired. Last couple of days, we are in several programs with FICCI and CII. FBCCI has been trying a lot to organize and collaboration between these two countries, friendly country. We have a historic tie. Culturally, we are together. And actually, I feel this is our time now. West has done. This is the cycle of the world economy. This is time for Asia, and this is time for India, China, Bangladesh, Indonesia, this kind of country. Thing is, we the business people can make a difference. Private sector is the engine of growth. So we have been trying, we have issues, we have limitations, we have infrastructural deficiency. Beside all this subcontinent was one of the richest subcontinent in the world. That's why Mughal came here, British came here to invade us. And they successfully divided us as well. But we the people, we are connected, heart to heart, we are together. So this is a time, despite of all these differences, we the business people can make a difference. So from day before yesterday to today, we had several programs, we joined, and we have seen the willingness of the business community from both the countries that we really want to grow together. Especially today, it's a very touchy program. Our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who led the country from the front, today he awarded the families, the grandchildren of the martyr, those who have sacrificed their life in the liberation war of 1971. That's why this relationship and bondage is very important for all of us. And we believe that we business people can take into the different level. So today we had another important meeting with your ex-ambassador, was saying that Padma Bridge, when it will be connected with railway line, not only by road, from Delhi to Dhaka, there will be a connectivity. So goods will be, loaded in Kamalapur and it will come to Delhi or any part of your country where railway connection is very strong, one of the strongest railway network in the world. So we are progressing. Bangladesh is progressing. Bangladesh has shown their resilience in economic development. So this is, I would strongly request both the chambers, FBCCI, to make a working committee so that we can identify the issues and we can address those with our respective ministries and department. Our Honorable Commerce Minister is here, who is always facilitating the business. And our Prime Minister, I can tell you, I had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Narendra Modi ji, the Prime Minister of India. He is also very keen to see the development of both the countries. We have to create a situation where things are win-win for all of us. We can bring people out of poverty. We the people can make a difference. With this, I'm concluding my remarks, and I wish and hope in the bright future and friendship of both the countries. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangla.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Muhammad Shafiul Islam, for talking to all of us here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between ASSOCHAM and the Federation of Bangladesh Chambers of Commerce and Industry. I request Mr. Vineet Agrawal, immediate past President ASSOCHAM and MD Transport Corporation of India, and Mr. Mohammad Jashimuddin, President FBCCI to kindly sign the Memorandum of Understanding between ASSOCHAM and FBCCI, both apex chambers from the two respective countries, to pledge to work together to enhance bilateral cooperation for developmental partnership. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, the Memorandum of Understanding between ASSOCHAM and FBCCI to enhance bilateral cooperation for developmental partnership, work in that direction, has now been signed. Requesting all dignitaries to please come forward for a group photo opportunity. Thank you. Well, it's an honor for me to now request His Excellency Mr. Tipu Munshi, MP, Honorable Minister of Commerce, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, to address the gathering here. Let's all welcome him, everyone, once again with a round of applause.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. Shubho Sandhya. Mr. Jasimuddin, President of FBCCI, Mr. Vinit Agarwal, immediate past President ASSOCHAM, Mr. Deepak Sood, Secretary General ASSOCHAM, Mr. Sanjay Kataria, the economist, Safiul Islam Muhyiddin, former President of FBCCI and Member of Parliament now, and Mustafa Azad Chaudhry Babu, the Senior Vice President of FBCCI. In front of me, a lot of business leaders from Bangladesh, from President BGMEA, President BKMEA, MCCI President, in all other sectors also, IT sectors also, directors from FBCCI, and business people from India side also. It's a very wonderful evening today because both the party, I mean this FBCCI and ASSOCHAM, they have made one agreement, MOU, for what? To increase business, to do business. That's why, as a commerce minister, I really appreciate that, and I congratulate both the leaders. They have taken right decision in the right time. I'm really happy that this time you have invited me to attend in this August gathering, and I really appreciate that. It's great advantage for me to say you something. Actually, the video presentation has shown Bangladesh. What is Bangladesh now? And Mr. Jasimuddin also spoke, another leader from Bangladesh also spoke about Bangladesh. So, before that, I want to pay my respect, my gratitude to Indian people. As a freedom fighter, I really appreciate their support in the year 1971. And they have taken so much of pain to supporting us at that time. Today also, Mr. Muhyiddin mentioned that today was a wonderful program from Bangladesh today, that from Bangladesh government in the name of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, given some support to the family members, descendants of the martyrs who have given their life and they are from the army, and army at the time of war, they lost their life. So it was wonderful, not money and not other thing, the stipend, other thing, but recognition that was really needed. And beside that, India also supports our freedom fighters, their children, in helping them in health sector, giving them scholarship and all these things. That is not business, but something more than business, where is connection of heart, the feelings for both the countries. We have a wonderful history, we have same history, culture. So we should, if that is in our mind that we have a old culture and bondage, so why not business? In war, in liberation war, India supported us. So why not be partner in progress? So what I want to say, India is a big country, powerful in business in all respects. So they shall have to come to Bangladesh for investment. And beside that, in return also, as Mr. Josimuddin said, some business people and government has allowed our people to invest outside. So to invest in India from outside and from Bangladesh, I think there are some restrictions. So, but they said, I spoke to several times about this thing, and they said case to case they can consider. Maybe some other reason they have stopped Bangladesh generally. In lot of time, yesterday we had our Prime Minister had meeting with Indian Prime Minister, Mr. Modi ji. In that meeting, I was present in some of the meetings, and I saw the eagerness, the wants from both sides, both the Prime Minister wants that we should progress together. Especially I saw when Mr. Modi spoke, he said, if we grow up to 5 feet, why not our neighbors should come up to that level? It's not wise to keep them in 1 feet or 2 feet high. So actually this is the language he mentioned. And a lot of ideas he has given, and at the same time, our Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh also, she also acted very positive. She said we can talk, our senior people can talk and sort out how to go further. Small problems are there, but we can sort it out and we can do better. So lot of prospect chances are there, lot of scopes are there. Before I entered into this meeting, I was talking to Mr. Agrawal. He was asking me what are the side, why we can invest, what is the good. So there are a lot of things. Especially I told him that the agro processing can be a very good side. This side people can consider a lot, because nowadays that side is Bangladesh has progressed a lot, and the possibilities in that sector also is very much. He was asking about spoke about onion, cold, storage system and some other. So all these things, I don't want to go for to discuss a lot, because everything Actually business people, they know where to invest, what to do. As a commerce minister, what I want to say that I am there to support wherever it is required. I am there to support all out to that you people can invest in Bangladesh. Our Prime Minister, 100 economic zone we have. We have more than 28 IT park, 8 export processing zone. And India has got 3 places, they have their own area. And beside that, today our Prime Minister says, if you need further to that, she is ready to give more places for the Indian investors. Even she said about the women entrepreneurs, if they comes from India, she will get less price, even if necessary, go for free, as requested by our business ladies. So all this positive attitude of our Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina, towards towards development of the business of Bangladesh. We want to grow. We want to our living, our people. We shall have to take care of people. We liberated, but we shall have to take care of our people. So they should come up. They shall have to be a better life. So I don't want to take much of your time. You know, one thing I want to say that business for Indian business investors, from my side, my personal side, I am also in business, though I am in politics also for last 55 years. But I am also in politics in business also. So I have a partner. When I started my garment business in the year 1985, 86, the partner in my garment business, he is from India. And we both spent 36 years of our business life together. There was zero problem and we really enjoyed a wonderful partnership. When we started, it was only about 125 people, but last year it has cost more than 6,000 workers. You see, our Parliament member, Sheikh Islam spoke to about the Apollo 20 years back. You see that story, how the Prime Minister works, just a small reference. When we plan to go for a hospital, and we spoke to Apollo Hospital, Bangladesh, we have a group with that Apollo Hospital. The Cheddi, Mr. Chairman of Apollo Group, he went to Bangladesh. That time, it was a problem to go for hospital because the importing of machineries, all these things was very highly taxed. And income tax was also, these things, they had a problem because hospital didn't have any tax holidays and other thing. So me and the chairman of Apollo Group, just Mr. what is his name? He both went to, he's still surviving, he's now, both went to Prime Minister that time in 1998, 24 years before. That time also our Honorable Prime Minister was in power. So we went to her. We told him that you shall have to declare hospital as industry. If you don't declare industry, then we will not get benefit as other industry gets tax holidays and other. So she said, how come a hospital can be an industry? So I told her that a lot of other, I have taken some paper and given to her, Sri Lanka and some other countries thing. So she said, I am not a businessman. But when you were saying this thing, okay, talk to our Commerce Minister at the time and Finance Minister, and good thing, that time she allowed and declared this hospital as an industry. The reason I'm telling you, whenever we go to her for any development, anything, she is very much positive. We are also, my personal group is also involved in education sector. You know, we have the change system of, your Delhi Public School. We have 2 branches of Delhi Public School in Dhaka that we own that thing. And further 2 is coming up with the next year. So all 4 will be a Delhi Public School. This, and they support her. So this is the thing we have. We have understanding. We don't have any problem doing business. And a lot of Indian investors are there. And they say today they are very happy with the investment. So that's why I think business people is the right people to advertise, to say positive. So this MOU will really give a little bit of, boost up the situation that they can speak, the Indian business leaders, ASSOCHAM and Bangladesh, FBCCI, both shall have to work how to increase investment in Bangladesh. We are there, you know, now government has declared whatever the profit, 100% investment from outside is okay, and whatever the profit, they can take it out 100%. So that is things, the new things is there. So doing business also quite become now easy, and it will. Whenever you come more and more, any problem comes in between, we can sort it out. So I don't want to take any further time. The last request to you, You supported us. Indian people, Indian leadership supported us in liberation war. Why not support us for progress? Both we can progress. We can go together further. So let's do that. And if really that thing happens, the success of MU or you will be, that will be the basic things that we are getting that advantage. We will have something in future. And that Mr. Katoria also spoke. He was in Dhaka. He spoke about SEPA thing, a lot of other things. I'm not that much of good economist, but I understand positive, what is good, what is bad. That is at least also understand. So we are trying very strongly to go for this SEPA, and after 2026, actually, that will help us to go further. Thank you all for listening me. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu. Maybe you can try to get it out. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, His Excellency, for talking to all of us here and sharing with us your thoughts and perspective. With that, we've almost come to an end of today's program, the India-Bangladesh Business Forum. Before we formally conclude, I request Mr. Vineet Agrawal, the immediate past President, ASSOCHAM, to kindly present a small token of our gratitude and appreciation to His Excellency, Mr. Tipu Munshi, MP, Honorable Minister of Commerce, from the Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. On behalf of all of us here, extending our heartiest gratitude to His Excellency for sparing some of his most valuable time and joining us here on our today's program this evening. Also requesting Mr. Vineet Agrawal to present a memento to Mr. Mohammad Jashimuddin, President of FBCCI, and extend our sincerest gratitude. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we conclude the program. So the Federation of Bangladesh Chambers of Commerce and Industry would also like to present a memento, and I request the team. We'll just take a few moments, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sure everyone's waiting for the networking dinner in just a few moments from now. Well, not a very little token really, but FBCCI presenting that token of their love and appreciation to ASSOCHAM, and if I may, on behalf of everyone at ASSOCHAM, extend our sincerest gratitude for all the love and appreciation. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please join us for the networking dinner now, and thank you once again for joining us for this evening's program.